Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on my latest Conquest monthly update session. As you can see, I'm in my sample client scenario for John and Jane sample, and I'm going to review with you Release Notes 5 that went into effect a couple of weeks ago, earlier this month in May 2025. As you can see visually, we've got some updates that are quite striking. In the upper right area, in the insights, we have a SAM score metric, as you can see here, as well as a SAM score next to the client name showing up. So we're going to explore some of these updates as they're quite significant, some major ones. Before I get started, if you like these videos, please give it a like or put a comment down below. Is there anything else you would like to see? I'm interested to know who's watching these. Are you getting any value out of it? Is it useful? Please, any feedback would be very much appreciated. So let's carry on. Upper left corner, hamburger icon as I refer to it is, the three lines. We're going to go into support and resources and into the knowledge base to review what's new, release 5 as I mentioned. Here we have the table of contents. We've got some new features and feature enhancements. I'm going to start from the top and work our way down. So first up under new features is evolving the financial well-being goal, a new framework for comprehensive planning. So this is quite significant. So reframing, a retitling of financial well-being goal. It's now got some multiple functions at play here. So they found to unlock comprehensive suggestions, they felt the need to make some additional streamlining. So what they've done is they focused on these components called SAM score, cash flow and debt goal, and holistic strategy suggestions. So as I go down here and click on this screen snapshot for their sample client scenario, we can see the three main items. So we have a SAM score, as I pointed out earlier. Upper right in the SAM's Insights light bulb, we've got a scoring metric here as well. And then when you're in expert planning mode, after you've added in the cash flow and debt component, we now have a drop-down menu and we can choose holistic and we can solve using strategies across all of the multiple goals in your client scenario. So it's quite nice, the streamlining effect that's taken place, and I'll explore those in more detail with you. So let's begin with introducing the SAM score, your new plan health indicator. So as you can see, right next to your client name is that SAM score. In this example, it's showing as good. So that's obviously where we want to carry our clients to. And so it considers their overall goal achievement, or if there's multiple goals achievements. So this enhanced version moves beyond by analyzing additional factors such as a stress test resilience, volatility risk, and potential life insurance needs. The result is a more comprehensive measure of your client's financial plan health, offering deeper insights into how the plan performs under various scenarios. So key features in the SAM Insights, when we reference the upper right corner, it's going to show a breakdown and different rating levels. As you can see here, it has improve, fair, good, and great. And down below, we can see what that looks like. Based on the current scenario, basically before any strategies have been applied, and then with the recommended after the strategies have applied. So we can see and compare and contrast current SAM score versus the recommended SAM scores. Quite nice. And some key factors, which I'll show you in just a minute. So let's take a look over in Conquest. The upper left, as we can see, is SAM score. Okay. I just clicking over here. When I click there, I don't know if you noticed, but the key factors opened up. So if I click here, there you go. So it's identifying some key factors to improve your client's overall situation, such as creating an education goal or a cash reserve goal. It's pointing out that they're carrying $178,000 in debt when they retire. I love the liability tracking in the software. It does a great job, very detailed. So that's could be an important point of discussion with your clients. You know, how do they feel about carrying that mortgage balance after their retirement date? So really nice features in there. Okay, so we've got that SAM score. If I head over to the planning tab, and it stays with us, obviously. And we can add in from here, it used to be called financial well-being. As you can see, it's now titled cash flow and debt. So when I add that in, we've got a metric rating, and it's showing stability. If I click on it, it moves to the left, and we have some strategies we can click on and apply. Okay, we have this new feature here. When you're in expert planning mode, filter suggestions. We can click on it and go to holistic. So notice that little circle widget, it decreased in size. So these strategies down below, when you're in the holistic component. So you can now click on strategies that apply across all of these goals. Okay, so they're all going to be sort of lumped in here, or we can take a more step-by-step approach, maybe. And so as I click out of it, I can click back on retirement, and it moves to the left, and I can solve for the retirement goal sort of in its own little silo, but it is impacting the other components as well, or family vacation, for example. Or I can click here and solve across all of them through here, through this metric. So that's some of the differences. I can now click on this item here, and it opens another level of cash flow and debt management metrics or measurements, and so we can get deeper insights into that. So those are the main things. So visually, we've got a major overhaul. I would definitely consider this a major overhaul, right? So visually, it can throw you off the first time you're going into the plan. Obviously, we want to get acquainted with some of these items because it could disrupt your workflow for sure. Let's head back to the notes for a second because I want to move on to the next item, which is volatility resilience KPI. So key performance indicator. This is going to evaluate how well your client's plan can withstand market fluctuations. So this KPI is displayed under the retirement goal and uses a very simple scale, very low, low, moderate, or high. It indicates a plan's exposure to market volatility. And it's only available when you've solved for all goals right across. So you can see I've got the retirement goal over 100%, family vacations right at 100. So now this should apply. If I'm in the retirement goal, I'm going to go over one more. There it is. The volatility resilience is high. So this shows me, through market fluctions, this scenario, their assets are very resilient to overcoming any volatility, essentially, right? So that's reassuring. But if I go back to the strategies, and let's say if I were to not be at 100% for one of my goals, notice it goes away, okay? So it pops up once you've solved for the goal. So that's just what that means with regards to, your workflow. You want to get the goals all in order and then reference the KPIs at the top to sort of check in and assess your client's overall financial health. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's move down to the new cash flow and debt goal. So financial well-being renamed or replaced by a more focused cash flow and debt goal. This goal consolidates budgeting, cash reserves, debt management, and long-term saving strategies right into one place, providing a clear framework for addressing both immediate financial needs and future savings projections. Okay, and it has that ranking. Remember when I clicked on this little bar chart within this widget? I'll come back to that in a second, but it's using 4 progressive levels that represent a client's journey towards financial freedom. So level 1, avoidance, level 2, stability, then security, then freedom. So the score reflects the plan's ability to manage shortfalls, budgeting, debt obligations, and cash reserves effectively, ensuring financial stability and readiness for unforeseen circumstances. Okay, so that's how it's rating that those different levels there. If I head back to Conquest and click on cash flow and debt, there we go. Pops up again. So it's very interactive, and the second I hover away from it, it goes away and I have to click it again. So that's how you make it stick. Just keep your mouse in one spot there. So additional insights. Remember, this is a widget you add in on the planning page. Okay, certain scenarios you may not see value in this, but certain scenarios where someone has quite a few years before retirement, maybe there's an opportunity to do some debt consolidation strategies or recommendations. and freeing up cash flow, those sort of things. I find this widget could be very useful for people in the accumulation stage, for people in the deaccumulation or retirement income stage. Maybe not as useful. That's just my opinion, but as you work through different planning scenarios, maybe you would find additional ways you would want to reference this. So coming down to personal preferences, perhaps. Let's move on to enhanced holistic strategy suggestions in expert planning mode. Yeah, so I touched on this already. If we go to Conquest Planning back here and I click on holistic, like I said, this widget decreases in size. So what this is allowing us to do, if I move myself over here, we now have in expert planning mode a basket of multiple strategies which we can apply that not only apply to cash flow and debt, but also towards retirement, family vacation, and legacy. It's kind of lumped all in there into one. Okay. Now there was one item in here. So when you have a major purchase goal or an education goal, when you're in this module, the cash flow and debt component, there is a new strategy called automatically fund education and major expense goals using cash flow and investments. Okay, so this allows us to just improve workflow, I think, and keep things a little more straightforward. So let me back out the family vacation goal for a second. I had a saving strategy applied there. So if I take it away, the family vacation goal still needs to be solved for. So we can find that automatically fund major expense goal. So if I search for it, there it is. So this is the new feature or strategy added, and it's available when you're in the cash flow and debt component in holistic filter suggestion. Okay, so that's what it's going to do. It's going to automatically fund this through the family vacation. Let's see, does it give us more details? Yeah, a little bit there. So you may find this useful. It's just going to take care of it on the sidelines for you, as it says, using cash flow and investments. From my personal preference, I would be curious to know, like, which cash flows, whose income, which account is it going to access? So to me, it feels a bit general, but that's just me. If you want to simplify things, I see a lot of value in that. But if you want to be a little more specific, I would look for the strategy for redeem investments and select the exact account out of it. So that's just me, but appreciating the fact that everyone has their own way of planning and preferences, you might find an alternative to be better suited for you. So let's move on to improved build a strategy feature. Okay, this is nice. So build a strategy, I find like over time, as they've added and enhanced to the software, when we're in retirement planning, for example, let me just go back to the retirement goal. Most times we can find a strategy already built, right? And we don't have to build a strategy compared to the early days. Like a couple of years ago, I found the build a strategy, I was using it a lot more frequently. But now with the build a strategy, the enhancement they've made here is with regards to after you build the strategy, see, they've broken out the impact on goals. So we can see not only the progress, but the impact as we build it out, give it a strategy title, reason why, how we're going to do this, and we go into the change data components. It's going to quantify the impact as it relates to all of the different components within it. So kind of a nice little feature. They've added some enhancements, more detail, I guess you could say. So that's what's going on there. Okay, yeah, nothing else to show there. So let's move on. We're about halfway through. Reporting enhancements. They've updated all reporting tools to reflect the new SAM score and cash flow and debt goal. Okay, so we've got additional reports available within this component in reference to the audit reports, for example. If I open that screen, we'll see it. There it is. So that's what that's a reference to. Instead of being called financial well-being, it's called cash flow and debt. Okay, so just a renaming of things. Okay. Now, if I go back here, client PDF reports, same thing. They've just retitled it, cash flow and debt page, and digital stories as well. So just making things a little concise. That should be automatic for you. Nothing you should have to change unless you've already generated a client PDF report and sent it to your client, either printed it off or emailed. So they might have an older version. So when you update the plan and generate a new report, it should have the new language, obviously. Okay. Let's move on. Evolving financial planning in the client portal. Okay, so with regards to the client portal, when they log in, they should see some of these additional features. Okay, the SAM score is going to be available, showing a comprehensive view of their plan health. Cash flow and debt goal focuses on immediate financial needs, and both your recommended plan and your plan alternatives now feature dedicated holistic views. So the client's going to experience this too. Okay, so they're going to see additional scoring or renaming of the scoring. And so that's quite a nice feature too if your firm has that capability. With regards to client portal specific changes, okay, you can see recommended strategies for all goals. Okay, it's all listed there. As you can see, as you apply strategy, it lists the goals and strategies are all itemized down below. And they also have access, or they should see the scoring of the plan score, as you can see, improve, fair, good, or great, okay, and the key factors. So that's quite nice. So they have access to those enhancements, not only on the advisor side, client advisor facing side, but now the client facing side through the client portal. Okay. Visibility options. Okay, so we have some visibility options we can talk on, and we can choose to hide certain components of this. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's take a look. This one in particular. This is, could be perceived as being a bit redundant. Okay, we've got it here, we've got it here. What if we want to take this away? Well, we can do that. Simply click the hamburger icon, go into your settings, SAM score visibility. Look, we can just turn it off and it's gone. And now we just have it. Whoa, look at that. I didn't realize that, but wow, it's gone over here as well. Okay, so, less front facing. Okay, I stand corrected. I thought this one was going to go away and not this one as well, but it turns out it's all gone away. So isn't that interesting? Okay, hey, real-time surprise for you. I didn't expect that. Okay, I'm learning as I go too. All right, just sharing what I'm learning here with you live. So SAM score. Okay, so based on your preferences, right? You might like this, or if you don't like it, want to go sort of revert back to the old way of it, having it, take it out. Okay, so you got some flexibility there. That's nice. I like that. Let's move on. Text updates for clarity. Okay, client portal has been updated to reflect the new framework. Okay, so that's good. So it's all consistent. Advisor facing, client facing, everything's been updated. Let's talk on other asset. Okay, so we have an other asset card. This was in effect before, but the other assets card, it's got the general asset class that's separated on the net worth from investment assets, lifestyle assets, rental properties, and has a fixed growth rate. Okay, so what it's doing, if you generate a net worth statement, we have the lifestyle assets, we've got investment assets, and we have a new category called other assets, okay? What could be in other assets? I don't know. It could be a stamp collection. It could be a classic car. Like you can have it just itemized in a different section, or you could just keep it in the lifestyle assets. So you have some flexibility there, I guess. It should work out the same from a tax perspective, either on death or on the sale of an item. But let's take a look at other assets plus asset, existing or future. Okay, before I think we just had loan receivable. Now we've got what's called other asset. Okay, so we can give it a name. We could call it, a Chevy 1955 as an example. It could be an antique car. Choose the owner, choose the market value. We've got a cost basis. We can assign a growth rate. And within more data, we can also assign a sale date. Okay, it defaults to last to die. You don't have to do it there. Alternatively, you can leave it blank here, go back here into planning, and we can build in a strategy to sell the asset and use it as an applied strategy. I might be inclined to do it this way because it provides a little more transparency, right? If you build it back here, it's just kind of hidden that asset sale. And when thinking in terms of going back into a plan after a year, you'd have to go into every little subcategory within each card to figure that out, or get some more details on that. So that's why I kind of like doing a lot of the transactions here in the planning tab. But again, it comes down to personal preference there. Okay, so yeah, we've also got an additional report. It's called Single Asset Activity Audit Report. Okay, so we can take a look at that when we go to the audit reports. Okay, and we can reference that single asset. I'll be careful of the spelling. Single asset activity. So this is the new report that was generated for that new capability in the asset card there. So let's move on to the next item, which is, covered that, feature enhancements. Okay, getting close to the end here. Advisor information improvements. Okay, so advisor settings, English. Okay, what have we got here? The role and credentials field from advisor settings are now displayed on the client report. This information will appear on the cover page now, as well as your main contact and about financial team section. Okay, so basically, if you recall, on the cover page, it's now going to add underneath the client name, there's the main contacts info, the financial advisor. Okay, so nice little option. Okay, keeps it near the front there. I'm going to take that out, go back here. Okay, let's move on to the next section. Client, co-client, title displayed with full name. I kind of like this. I reviewed this a few minutes ago before recording. So in a scenario where you want to include a client's title, in this example, Dr. Bill Adams, we can now do that. So let's take a look in Conquest. If I go back here into the family card and look under John, let's say John was a doctor. I could put his title here. Okay, and I can choose to display title with full name. If I turn it on, it'll be on the client report and display fully, or right here. It should show up here eventually. It's not showing. Maybe it's a bit laggy, but I think it should show up there based on the release notes. Yeah, it's just a bit laggy. So it'll load in and eventually it'll say Dr. John Sample. So kind of nice little feature there. Check insights, replacing integrity check under plan review. So a new name, a new language, I guess you can see, you could say. Within the review section of a client plan, the integrity check function has been replaced with the more general check insights option. So when we go to Conquest, back to the software, there it is, check insights. Okay, so now it just alerts you. We've got this little pink box popping up. There are issues present. It wants you, before you confirm the plan, not only do we have to generate a report, but it's asking us items needing attention. It's drawing our attention. We must action these. We can say either update the data or ignore the data, but we have to now action these before we can confirm the plan. So just another additional step there, I guess you could say. So I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, but over time, we will all experience this and determine like, okay, maybe this is a good thing. It's pulling us back to these insights and wanting us to action it before we confirm anything. Just making sure we dot our I's and cross our T's per se, right? So let's go. Once we've actioned those or completed all those checks, right, we'll get this pop-up saying success, there are no issues with the plan. Then we can confirm the plan once we've also generated the client PDF report. Okay, let's move on to the next item, legislative change to Nova Scotia locked-in account. So big update if you have clients in Nova Scotia, it's with regards to the LIF accounts. So as of April 1st, 2025, LIF accounts with the jurisdiction of Nova Scotia now allow 50% unlocking once the account owner is at least 55 of age. Okay, the unlocked funds can be transferred to any RSP or RIF account type that exists in the plan. Additionally, Nova Scotia has removed temporary income provisions on LIF accounts established after April 1st, 2025. So any new LIF accounts, okay? If we go back here, if we go to accounts, I don't have any locked in accounts. I'll add one in quickly for John. Other accounts, let's add the Lira. We go into more data and we can go to information, holdings, beneficiaries, settings here. So we've recognized Nova Scotia. I live in Nova Scotia, so it defaults to that. But if you're in Ontario or otherwise, you would have to choose Nova Scotia in the drop down. Okay, so it's going to implement the new Nova Scotia LIF withdrawal rules around temporary income and 50% unlocking. So something to keep your eye on there. Okay. And then I think this is the last item, adjusted family net income starting tax value. A new adjusted family net income section has been added to the client data starting tax values. There we go. Okay. So you may notice back in Conquest, underneath the, is it plan assumptions? No, it's starting tax value, sorry, right here. There it is, adjusted family net income. Estimate the previous year AFNI, yes, is the default, or we could say no, and we can enter the previous year's adjusted family net income. Why would you do one or the other? Well, when the estimate previous year is set to yes, the adjusted family net income for the 2 years, for the first 2 years, of the plan will be estimated based on the incomes entered in the plan. And when the estimate is set to no, the previous year AFNI will become editable to allow you to enter your own value. Okay, so it's just for tracking previous year's income because there are impacts to the Canadian Child Benefit, the CCB, the disability benefit, RESP grants and incentives, RDSP grants and bonds. So it does have an impact on things, and it might explain why you're seeing the CCB show up at a certain amount, next year versus previous years or years after. So we can see the impact on the overall planning components. And look at that, I made it through 26 minutes, roughly, give or take. Thank you for watching this to the end. Appreciate your time. And again, if you've made it to the end of watching this, thank you so much. Please put a comment down below. I'm really curious to know who's watching these. Are you getting anything out of it? What else would you like to see? What else can I do? Thanks again. Have a great day, everyone.